What is going on, Ranger fans? Welcome to Off the Grid. We are back to action. I'm your host, Jacob Bartley, and this is the Power Rangers podcast where we talk all things Power Rangers, and that includes television, comics, toys, movies, whatever is going on in the Power Rangers world. We are going to talk it. And I just realized my Dragon Zord is a little bit off. There we go. Kind of want him facing the camera, a little bit crooked there. But yes, today we are going to be talking some comics. The comics are finally back. I mean, we had Go-Go Power Rangers issue number 31 a while back, a couple weeks ago, and now today we're going to talk Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, number 5 of 5, the final issue of that. We are also going to be talking the final issue of Go-Go Power Rangers, number 32. It is the last issue of that run, and if you've been reading the comics, you understand why. It makes a lot of sense because it's matching up with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers timeline. So that story continues in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. If you basically, and I'll talk about this when I get to the issues specifically, but basically if you read issue number 32 of Go-Go, it leads right into the first issue of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Necessary Evil. So it all connects. But yes, I just want to wish everybody a great day and a healthy and safe life in general, but also especially right now during these times. I want to wish everybody the best and most healthy life because we're in crazy times right now and we can't have enough of those best wishes. Also, I do want to tell you guys about some off-the-grid gear you can get. For this podcast, you can get off-the-grid gear at tpublic.com. Just there's a link in this description. You can go check out those t-shirts. You can go to tpublic.com. They're under Apocalypse Movies because all of our Apocalypse gear on my movie YouTube channel is on that same page. But if you just follow the link in the description of this video, you can go and get off-the-grid t-shirts, pillows, mugs, blankets. Not actually, they don't have blankets, but they have everything, almost everything except blankets. They have laptop cases, phone cases, things like that. So go to TeePublic and get yourself some off-the-grid gear. Tweet at me at JacobBartley824. If you do buy something, that would be really cool. All right, well, let's get into it. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, number 5. We've been waiting so long for this. We haven't had an issue since before March when the quarantines happened and everything like that. So where we left off last, the Ninja Turtles morphed and now are Turtle Rangers, and they are in the Megazord getting ready to fight Bebop and Rocksteady, who have been turned into big giant monsters. See how this all works out perfectly? You have monsters, Bebop and Rocksteady, or I guess mutants I should say. Maybe monsters is offensive towards them. You have mutants, and they were returned into big giant monsters, and Shredder, almost said Zed, Shredder did something to the Power Rangers that they can't morph, so the Turtles have to morph, and here we are ready to fight. So it picks up, it starts right where it left off. Turtles are in the Zords, and then Shredder shows up with the Dragon Zord. He has the Dragon Dagger. That was really awesome. So I'm not as knowledgeable in the Ninja Turtles lore. So I'm guessing Metalhead is a robot that they have, a robot turtle, I'm guessing. That's normal size. And Billy and the Rangers, along with, I believe with Casey Jones, they figured out how to turn Metalhead into a Zord. So they show up to join the fight, and they combine to do the Turtle Megazord. These comics love doing the new Zords. It's like every few issues or so, there's a new combination of the Zords. And it's just crazy. They had the Promethea Zord. Just every time they have an opportunity to have the Megazord combine with any other type of robot, they do it. And it's cool because we kind of knew this, but Zordon says that the Megazord has adaptability abilities, and it can basically combine with any type of machine, which is really cool. I never really thought about that because I thought all the Zords were made to combine together, but this Metalhead wasn't a Zord, but it was able to combine with Metalhead to create the Turtle Megazord. So that's really cool. So basically, they flee, they defeat the monsters, they flee, and then they're back at the command center, and Billy, Alpha, and Donatello, they figure out how to get the Rangers to morph, so they head to the moon to fight Rita and Shredder, who are arguing on the moon, talking about how Shredder's saying, if this fails, I'm going to, send you out away and take the moon for myself. So the Rangers and the Turtles show up, and there's this big battle. The Turtles are fighting Rita, the Rangers are fighting Shredder and the Foot Clan, and I believe Putties are there too. There's this big battle on the moon, which was awesome. And then Tommy gets his morpher back from Shredder. They're able to separate Shredder from it somehow. And then they defeat Shredder. Rita and Shredder. So a couple issues back, Shredder mentioned Dimension X, where he had powerful allies who knew about Rita and told him that Rita was a powerful, formidable being in the galaxy. So Rita's been wanting to meet these allies and see who they are and possibly work together with them. So Rita and Shredder get away and go to this Dimension X to meet his allies. Look, I thought this was going to be a 5-issue run and they'll never go back to it. The way Rita and Shredder escape and tease the allies that he's talking about, they have to consider that was a cliffhanger type thing. I guarantee you they're leaving the door open for a possible continuation of this story, because they wouldn't just do that. If they were gonna do that, go to the Dimension X and end it in this series, they would have shown them go there and talk to these allies and come back and have it play into the story. But they kind of got away at the end and left this little door open. Like, I want to see who these allies are. So that was pretty cool. And then, so of course they defeat them, they escape, and then there's kind of the calm after everything goes down. The Rangers and the Turtles are bonding. Of course, Billy and Donatello are hanging out, and then April O'Neil and Kim are hanging out, and they're just all talking about how cool it was and how just different things that they're bonding over. If you remember, the whole story behind this was Tommy's cousin joined the Foot Clan, and Tommy infiltrated the Foot Clan and trying to get them out. So they had to wrap up that storyline. So they show Tommy talking to his cousin and how him and those Foot Clan soldiers that were left behind since Shredder's gone, along with Casey Jones, are going to help clean up the streets, things like that. So it was cool. And it ends with Tommy and Raphael kind of sparring because they had some issues, some friendly beef in the past. So that continues here, and they kind of spar there. So it was fun. Look, I don't get the same I don't get the same satisfaction out of these crossover comics like I do with the Go-Go and the Mighty Morphin lines, because look, the Go-Go and the Mighty Morphin lines are the legit canon type things in these Power Rangers comics. Things like the Justice League crossover and the TMNT crossover, I love them. They're awesome. But they're kind of just side what-if stories, basically. That's how I look at them. Like, I don't consider this Ninja Turtle story to be in the same canon as the Shattered Grid storyline or the Necessary Evil storyline. And that's fine. I'd rather it be that way, because then they can just do whatever they want. They don't have to worry about stuff from Shattered Grid. And same for the Justice League crossover, which I loved, again, but not the same deal. So, yes, I enjoyed this. I thought it was fun. Not great. Pretty good overall. Not great, but I did really like it. And it's crazy because now, with this episode, my Off the Grid episode, we are talking 2 finales to a run. And even though the TMNT was a temporary crossover thing, it's the end of the run, issue number 5 of 5. And now, this is a big one. Go-Go Power Rangers number 32, the final issue. I thought for some reason number 30 was going to be the final issue, but that's not what happened. That was like the issue that the quarantine ended with. But maybe it was 32 this whole time. But yes, I thought this issue number 32 was really good. It did a lot of cool stuff. I'm sad it's ending because for a while, ever since Shattered Grid ended, I've liked Go-Go Power Rangers more than Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as far as comics go. Mighty Morphin is getting better, but since Shattered Grid ended, I've been on the Go-Go side if I have to choose. Now, it makes sense, though. This was always going to end before Mighty Morphin because Mighty Morphin is going forward in the future. This is in the past, and it's retelling stuff that already happened, but it was always going to end because we know where this ends up. The first issue of Necessary Evil, I forget what issue of Mighty Morphin that is. It starts with Aisha, Rocky, and Adam on the new Power Rangers team, and the new Rangers and Jason and them are the Omega Rangers. So they have all this going on. So it actually lines up perfectly. If you read Go-Go all the way up to and then went to the Necessary Evil storyline, that's the way you can read it. There's like different ways you can read this storyline. Or you could read Shattered Grid. You could read the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers line and then just read Go-Go as they came out in release order. So there's multiple ways you can do this. In a way, you shouldn't do this, but you could just only read Go-Go and Necessary Evil, and then it would kind of make sense other than maybe the off-the-grid crossover stuff. But yes, I really like this issue a lot. So basically, and I love this because my favorite thing about the comics is how it takes the Power Rangers show mythology and plays on that and kind of flips it on its head. Like with the Omega Rangers, how Jason, Trini, and Zach went on a peace conference. No, they didn't. They went on to defend the galaxy. It's almost like, in a way, this is just, my geekness coming out. But it's like the regular Power Ranger team are the Avengers. They're protecting Earth. And the Omega Rangers are the Guardians of the Galaxy. They're out in space dealing with cosmic issues. That's kind of how I see it in a way. And I love that. And also what they did, so in the show, the Power Rangers go to the deserted planet to get the Sword of Light, and that's where this issue starts. And it just brought back so much nostalgia with Serpentera coming into, because it's almost like shot for shot in a way with Serpentera, with Lord Zed and Goldar in Serpentera, which is a huge, giant Dragon Zord, way bigger than Tommy's Dragon Zord. And I loved seeing that. I thought that was awesome, because if I recall, Serpentera is very powerful, very, like, almost impossible to defeat in Mighty Morphin until we get to Power Rangers Wild Force, I guess. But I believe Serpentera, sometimes I can't tell what's going on in the images. It's like not for sure, but it looks like it. But it looks like Serpentera blew up that whole planet, the deserted planet, before the Rangers escaped. So they get back, they have the Sword of Light. The Sword of Light is used to transfer powers. So if I remember correctly, and they do it in this issue, they need the Sword of Light to transfer the power to Rocky, Aisha, and Adam. So that's what they get it for. And we know Trini, Zach, and Jason are going off to be the Omega Rangers, but the other Rangers and Zordon, I believe they're going to a peace conference. So before they leave, Trini and Zach offer to train the new Rangers. But Jason says, and this is totally a Jason thing to say, at least comic Jason, who is just the most badass mother effer ever. Because, look, Jason was already my favorite Power Ranger before the comics, but the comics just elevated that to another level, because he does not F around. When he shows up, it's all, like, he's just so powerful and so good at being a Power Ranger and his abilities. So love the Jason character, but this is a totally him to say, Tommy's the leader now. He should train them, which makes sense because Tommy is going to make the team his own. He's the leader now. He should train these Rangers, and I totally agree with it. Along with Billy and Kimberly training them too, and we do see a training sequence, and they are training them. So we see Rocky, Aisha, and Adam at high school being kind of goofy. They know they're going to be Power Rangers, but it kind of showcases that they're just dumb teenagers as well, and they're really nervous, but they're willing to do it. So that's pretty cool. Before we see the power transfer, we see Tommy go and talk to Jason. And look, in the shows in general, Tommy and Jason have a great relationship. Especially, and if you only watch Mighty Morphin, you might not think that. But if you watch Power Rangers Zeo, when Jason comes back, and the most in-depth thing they ever did with the Jason character, and maybe the Tommy character, in the Power Rangers show is Zeo when they're training and they have a conversation and Jason tells him, "Look, I'm not here to become the leader of the Power Rangers again. This is your team. I'm here to be a team member." And I love that. And that's so Jason. And they continue that. I feel like they took that Jason and made him the comic version because that's how he is. He's humble. He's not so worried about giving up this Power Rangers team and giving up being the leader because he knows he has to go and work with the Blue Emissary to do this huge, bigger mission that will ultimately help protect Earth too. Because if there's these powerful evil beings out in the galaxy, eventually some of them might find their way to Earth. So he's protecting not just Earth, he's protecting all of existence. So he sees this as a bigger need. And they still have the Power Rangers on Earth. They have new Rangers that they trust. So I think it's just so cool how they did that. So basically, Tommy begs Jason not to leave. Like, please don't leave. We need you. And Jason's telling him, look, you're going to understand one day, I promise. And I just love their dynamic. It's so good throughout the whole entire comics. It's amazing. And then we see the power transfer occur. Zed is keeping an eye on them. He sees that their new Rangers are there. He thinks so. Grace Sterling, who is the head of Promethea, made Zed think that she destroyed the Green Psycho Dagger because Zed was after the Green Psycho Dagger, and they almost got it, but they were able to stop Goldar and Squat and Babu before they took it. And so Grace was able to hide it from Zed. So Zed thinks that she destroyed it. And so that's kind of where we leave off with Zed. He thinks that his enemies are weaker because 3 veteran Rangers left and now there's 3 new Rangers. So obviously that weakens the team. And then he thinks that Promethea is no longer a threat because they don't have the Green Psycho Dagger. So I think that's kind of foreshadowing how Zed is underestimating them right now. So we also see, and Billy's there at Promethea talking with Grace, and that's where we see the Green Psycho Dagger still there. And he says, look, I'll keep this a secret as long as you help me with something. And I think they're referencing something that happens later on in Go-Go or in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but I can't really remember what that is, or it's something we don't know yet. And now we see, which is really cool because we didn't really get to ever see Aisha, Adam, and Rocky interact with Jason and, in Zeo we do, but with Jason, Zach, and Trini. So we see them talking. They're all saying their goodbyes. Kimberly and Trini are saying their goodbyes. And then we see the Omega Rangers on their ship leaving Earth. They feel this emptiness, this void, because they're no longer connected to the Morphin Grid. But that shortly ends when the Blue Emissary gives them their new powers, along with the new Blue Ranger as well, the alien. And then the issue kind of ends with these side by side of the Power Rangers getting ready to go into battle and training, and then the Omega Rangers getting ready to go into battle, and it ends with them both going into battle to fight. And basically, if you read the first issue of Necessary Evil Next, it'll pick right up. It shows the new Ranger team there. We find out about the Omega Rangers, everything like that. I don't think this was a perfect ending, but it was really, really good. Really good transition into Mighty Morphin, and it's just really cool. It's sad. I'm sad that this is where it's ending, but Ryan Parrott, I believe, is continuing on Power Rangers. He's writing Mighty Morphin as well, so it kind of works. It's not like that his sensibilities and him writing the comics is going away, so I'm okay with that. And I guess I'm gonna save money because I only have one series of Power Rangers to read. And look, I love these comics so much. If the comics never existed, if the comics weren't going on, it would be very hard for me to do this podcast, because the comics are just the greatest thing to happen to Power Rangers since its creation. These comics specifically, because they take the mythology and the Power Rangers so seriously, and I love that. It's not the kiddie tone from the TV show, even though that still exists. But Bulk and Skull are still involved in these comics, but very limited, and also because Bulk and Skull stuff is terrible in the show. It's nostalgic, but let's call it what it is. It's terrible. But they did something really cool. Instead of Bulk and Skull always bullying everybody, make them these guys who are obsessed with the Power Rangers and like run their own YouTube channel based on the Power Rangers. It's so cool. It's so modern, so meta. So they made these comics really awesome. And if we ever see a high budget, high quality show, live action show in Power Rangers, they need to follow suit of these comics. The comics are the outline for anything you're going to do going forward with Mighty Morphin. You have to adapt the comics in some way. I've been saying, let's say this every episode, Shattered Grid is the way to go. Listen to me, Power Ranger creators. Shattered Grid is the way to go. Well, that's going to do it for my reviews on Go-Go Power Rangers and MMPR TMNT number 5. Let me know what you thought in the comment section. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Really would appreciate it. Let's get a conversation going about these issues. I want to know what everybody else thought about the conclusion of these issues, especially Go-Go Power Rangers number 32. Do you like the transition, how it transitions into Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Necessary Evil? Let me know in the comment section. And if you have not, please subscribe to Bartley and Barnes. This is where you're going to find Off the Grid of Power Rangers podcast every Sunday at 6 p.m. I am looking at changing that time because once football starts, just because I'm a big football fan, but and it'll be easier for me to work around that. But yes, again, I'm Jacob Bartley, your host. This is Off the Grid of Power Rangers podcast. We will see you all next time. Don't forget to go to TeePublic and pick up a t-shirt. And until next week, may the power protect you.